There comes a moment in every woman's life when she wonders, if he truly loved me, why did he leave? Or will he ever realize what he lost? The truth is, chasing someone rarely brings them closer. What creates lasting impact is becoming a woman whose value is impossible to ignore. When a woman respects herself, protects her peace, and refuses to settle for less than she deserves, people begin to see her differently, including the man who walked away. This isn't about playing games or making someone jealous. It's about understanding the emotional and psychological habits that build genuine respect, confidence, and attraction. In this video, you'll discover 4 powerful principles that help women grow stronger after heartbreak, create healthier relationships, and become unforgettable, not because they begged someone to stay, but because they learned their true worth. One of the biggest mistakes many women make is believing that the harder they chase someone, the more likely they are to be loved in return. It feels natural to fight for someone you care about. You tell yourself that if you explain your feelings one more time, send one more message, forgive one more mistake, or give one more chance, things will finally change. But love doesn't grow because one person keeps trying harder while the other keeps giving less. Real love is built by 2 people who choose each other every single day. There comes a point when constantly chasing someone begins to cost you something far more valuable than the relationship itself. It starts to steal your confidence. You begin questioning your beauty, your personality, your intelligence, and even your worth. You wonder why you weren't enough. You replay every conversation in your mind, searching for the moment everything went wrong. The painful truth is that sometimes the problem isn't that you lacked something. The problem is that you were giving your best to someone who wasn't ready or willing to appreciate it. The moment you stop chasing isn't the moment you stop caring. It's the moment you decide to care about yourself just as much as you've been caring about everyone else. There's a powerful difference between loving someone and losing yourself while trying to keep them. A woman should never have to beg for attention that should be given freely. She should never have to convince someone to value her presence. The right person doesn't need endless reminders of your worth because they recognize it without being forced. Think about how much time and energy gets wasted waiting for a text that never comes, checking your phone every few minutes, wondering why someone viewed your story but didn't reply, or creating excuses for behavior that keeps hurting your heart. Those moments slowly drain your peace. They make your happiness depend on someone else's choices. No one deserves that kind of control over your emotions. The strongest women are not the ones who never feel pain. They are the ones who feel heartbreak, disappointment, and rejection, but still choose not to abandon themselves. They cry when they need to cry. They grieve what they lost, but eventually they wipe their tears, stand back up, and remember that their future is too important to be built around someone who isn't choosing them. When you stop chasing, something beautiful begins to happen. The energy that once went into worrying about another person finally has somewhere better to go. You begin investing in your own dreams. Maybe you return to school. Maybe you start the business you've always talked about. Maybe you travel somewhere you've never been. Maybe you reconnect with friends you neglected while trying to save a relationship. Maybe you discover hobbies that remind you who you were before you became consumed with trying to make someone stay. Little by little, your confidence returns. You start smiling without pretending. You wake up thinking about your goals instead of your heartbreak. Your life becomes fuller because your happiness is no longer waiting for someone else's permission. One of the greatest misunderstandings about self-love is believing it's about becoming cold or acting like you don't care. That's not what choosing yourself means. Choosing yourself means understanding that your heart deserves the same kindness you so freely give to others. It means speaking to yourself with compassion instead of criticism. It means refusing to settle for relationships where love feels like constant anxiety instead of peace. Many women stay in unhealthy situations because they're afraid of being alone. But loneliness inside the wrong relationship is often far more painful than being single. Sharing your life with someone who makes you question your value every day can leave wounds that take years to heal. Being alone for a season gives you something precious, the chance to rebuild your confidence without constant disappointment standing in the way. There's something incredibly attractive about a woman who knows who she is. She doesn't need to announce her value because the way she carries herself says enough. She doesn't compete with other women because she's focused on becoming her best self. She doesn't chase people who keep walking away because she understands that those who truly belong in her life will meet her halfway. Ironically, many people begin noticing your value only after you've stopped trying to prove it. It's not because you're playing games or pretending not to care. It's because confidence changes everything. When you stop begging for attention, people notice your absence. When you stop explaining your worth, your actions begin speaking louder than your words. When you stop making someone the center of your world, they often realize the space you once filled. But here's the most important lesson. Never make personal growth a strategy to get someone back. Grow because you deserve a better life. Heal because your heart deserves peace. Become stronger because your future depends on it, not because you're hoping someone will suddenly realize your value. If they return, let it be because both of you have grown into healthier people. If they never come back, let your growth still be the greatest gift you ever gave yourself. Every day you choose yourself, you become a little stronger than you were yesterday. Every healthy decision you make adds another layer to your confidence. Every boundary you keep reminds you that your peace matters. Every dream you pursue proves that your life has purpose beyond any relationship. One day, you'll look back and realize the person you were desperately trying to hold on to was never as important as the woman you were becoming. You'll understand that losing someone who couldn't fully appreciate you was never the end of your story. It was the beginning of discovering a version of yourself that no longer begs for love, no longer settles for less than respect, and no longer believes her value depends on someone else's decision to stay. When you stop chasing and start choosing yourself, you don't lose. You simply stop running after what isn't meant for you and start walking toward the life you truly deserve. That kind of confidence cannot be bought, bought, or faked. It is earned every time you choose self-respect over desperation, peace over confusion, and growth over fear. And once a woman reaches that place, she doesn't just become unforgettable to someone else. She becomes someone she is proud to see every time she looks in the mirror. There is a kind of strength that doesn't come from speaking the loudest or proving everyone wrong. It comes from protecting your peace when life gives you every reason to lose it. Many women spend years believing that love should feel like constant excitement, endless emotional highs and lows, or the fear of losing someone at any moment. But the healthiest relationships don't make you feel like you're walking on eggshells. They make you feel safe, respected, and emotionally secure. Your peace is one of the most valuable things you will ever own. Yet, it is often the first thing people sacrifice in the name of love. You ignore your intuition because you don't want to seem insecure. You accept broken promises because you hope things will improve. You forgive the same behavior over and over because you're afraid of starting over. Slowly, without realizing it, your heart becomes exhausted. You smile in public while carrying stress that no one else can see. You convince yourself that this is just what relationships are supposed to feel like, but they aren't. Real love should add peace to your life, not steal it. It should give you confidence instead of constant confusion. You shouldn't have to guess where you stand with someone who genuinely cares about you. A person who values you won't leave you questioning your place in their life every single day. They understand that consistency builds trust, and trust is the foundation of every lasting relationship. One of the hardest lessons to learn is that not every unanswered question deserves an answer. Sometimes people leave without explaining themselves. Sometimes they change without warning. Sometimes they stop making an effort, and no matter how many conversations you have, nothing changes. It is natural to want closure. You want to know why they became distant. You want to understand what you could have done differently. But there are moments when chasing answers only creates more pain. Peace begins the moment you stop demanding explanations from people who have already shown you their intentions through their actions. Words can comfort you for a day, but consistent behavior tells the truth every time. When someone's actions repeatedly leave you feeling unimportant, unheard, or unloved, believe what you are experiencing instead of holding on to promises that never become reality. Protecting your peace also means learning that you cannot fix everyone. Many women have beautiful hearts. They see potential where others see problems. They believe that enough patience, enough kindness, and enough love can heal another person's wounds. While compassion is a wonderful quality, it should never become an excuse for accepting treatment that damages your own emotional health. You can support someone without sacrificing yourself. You can love someone without carrying the responsibility of changing them. Every person must choose their own growth. No amount of love can force someone to become emotionally available, honest, or committed if they are unwilling to make those changes themselves. That realization can be painful, but it is also incredibly freeing. There's something powerful about waking up in the morning without emotional chaos controlling your day. Imagine beginning your morning without immediately checking your phone, wondering if someone finally texted back. Imagine enjoying dinner without constantly thinking about why someone seems distant. Imagine laughing with friends without secretly carrying anxiety about a relationship that keeps draining your spirit. That is what protecting your peace looks like. It is not about pretending life is perfect. It is about refusing to let another person's inconsistency steal your joy. Another important part of protecting your peace is learning to trust your intuition. There's often a quiet voice inside that notices things before your mind wants to admit them. It recognizes disrespect before excuses begin. It senses emotional distance before words confirm it. Too often, women silence that inner voice because they fear being wrong or because they desperately want things to work out. But your intuition exists for a reason. It deserves to be heard, not ignored. Peace also grows when you stop comparing your life to everyone else's. Social media has made it easy to believe that every couple is happier than you. Every woman is more beautiful than you, and everyone else has found the perfect relationship. What you rarely see are the struggles behind those carefully chosen photos. Comparing your real life to someone else's highlight reel will always leave you feeling like you're falling behind. Your journey doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Some women find lasting love early. Others discover it later after learning difficult but valuable lessons. Some spend seasons alone, using that time to heal, grow, and rediscover themselves. None of these paths make you more or less worthy. Your value has never depended on your relationship status. Protecting your peace also requires boundaries. Boundaries are not punishments. They are acts of self-respect. They communicate what you will accept and what you will no longer tolerate. A healthy person will respect those boundaries because they understand that love and respect go hand in hand. Someone who becomes angry every time you protect your emotional well-being is often benefiting from the absence of those boundaries. There will always be people who misunderstand your decision to choose peace. They may call you distant because you no longer argue over every small issue. They may say you've changed because you no longer tolerate disrespect. They may wonder why you stopped chasing after people who clearly weren't making the same effort. Let them wonder. Growth often looks unfamiliar to people who were comfortable with the old version of you. As you begin protecting your peace, you'll notice something unexpected. Your confidence becomes quieter but stronger. You stop reacting to every opinion. You stop feeling the need to prove yourself. You become more selective about who has access to your time, your heart, and your energy. You realize that saying no to what disturbs your peace allows you to say yes to the life you truly deserve. The most beautiful part of this journey is that peace doesn't depend on another person's behavior. It comes from your own decisions. It comes from choosing healing over bitterness, wisdom over impulse, and self-respect over fear of being alone. It grows every time you walk away from unnecessary drama, every time you refuse to settle for less than you deserve, and every time you remind yourself that your happiness cannot be built on someone else's unpredictable choices. One day you'll look back and realize that the greatest gift you ever gave yourself wasn't finding the perfect relationship. It was learning how to protect your own heart without closing it. It was discovering that peace is not something another person gives you. It is something you create through the choices you make every single day. And once you learn to guard that peace, you become stronger than any disappointment life can place in your path. Because no matter what changes around you, the calm within you remains unshaken. One of the greatest acts of self-respect a woman can practice is setting standards that reflect the value she sees in herself. Too many women are taught that being loving means accepting almost anything, staying silent to avoid conflict, or giving endless chances in the hope that one day everything will change. But love without standards often becomes sacrifice without appreciation. The truth is, the way you allow people to treat you becomes the way they believe they are allowed to treat you. Standards are not about demanding perfection from another person. No one is perfect, and every relationship requires patience, understanding, and forgiveness. Standards are about knowing the difference between a human mistake and a repeated pattern of disrespect. Everyone makes mistakes. But when someone continually lies, breaks promises, ignores your feelings, or makes you feel like you are asking for too much simply because you want honesty and consistency, the problem is no longer the mistake. The problem is the pattern. Many women stay in relationships that leave them emotionally empty because they are afraid that raising their standards will push someone away. They convince themselves that asking for respect, communication, or commitment is expecting too much. But asking someone to treat you with kindness is never too much. Wanting honesty is never too much. Expecting effort from someone who says they love you is never too much. The right person will not see your standards as a burden. They will see them as a reflection of your self-respect. Fear has a way of lowering standards without us even realizing it. Fear of being alone. Fear of starting over. Fear that no one else will come along. These fears can become so powerful that they convince a woman to settle for less than she truly deserves. She begins accepting excuses instead of change. She celebrates the smallest acts of effort because they have become so rare. She mistakes temporary attention for genuine commitment. Little by little, she starts believing that this is simply the best she can hope for. But settling never creates lasting happiness. It only delays disappointment. Every time you ignore what your heart knows is wrong, you create another reason to question yourself later. Deep inside, your heart recognizes when something is missing. It notices when love feels one-sided. It notices when respect is inconsistent. It notices when your needs are always placed behind someone else's convenience. One of the strongest words a woman can learn to say is no. Not because she wants to control others, but because she finally understands that every yes to unhealthy behavior becomes a no to her own peace. Saying no to disrespect means saying yes to dignity. Saying no to dishonesty means saying yes to trust. Saying no to emotional manipulation means saying yes to freedom. Every healthy boundary you create becomes another brick in the foundation of your confidence. There is a difference between being patient and being taken for granted. Patience allows people room to grow. Being taken for granted means your kindness is expected while your feelings are ignored. A healthy relationship includes grace for imperfections, but it should never require you to repeatedly overlook behavior that damages your emotional well-being. Love should challenge you to become better, not convince you that you deserve less. Another mistake many women make is believing that if they become more understanding, more available, or more forgiving, someone will finally appreciate them. While kindness is a beautiful quality, it should never become a reason for someone to take advantage of your heart. Love should be mutual. Effort should be mutual. Respect should be mutual. When one person carries the entire emotional weight of the relationship, exhaustion eventually replaces happiness. Standards also protect your future. Every decision you make today shapes the life you will live tomorrow. Choosing someone who consistently respects your time, values your opinions, and supports your dreams creates a relationship where both people can grow together. Choosing someone who constantly makes you question your worth creates a future filled with uncertainty and emotional stress. Your standards are not just about today. They are about protecting the life you hope to build. It is important to remember that confidence is often tested before it is strengthened. The first time you walk away from someone who refuses to meet your standards, it may hurt deeply. You may question your decision. You may wonder if you should have tried one more time. But every day you remain faithful to your values, your confidence grows stronger. You begin trusting yourself again. You stop depending on other people to tell you what you deserve because you already know. There will always be people who try to make you feel guilty for having standards. They may call you difficult, demanding, or unrealistic simply because you refuse to accept behavior that hurts you. Do not confuse someone else's discomfort with your boundaries as proof that your boundaries are wrong. Often, the people who complain the most about your standards are the ones who benefited when you had none. A woman with healthy standards does not chase attention because she understands the difference between attention and intention. Attention is easy to give. A text message takes seconds. A compliment takes moments. Real intention is different. It shows up through consistency, reliability, honesty, and effort over time. Anyone can make promises when emotions are high. Character is revealed by what someone does long after the excitement fades. It is also important to hold yourself to the same standards you expect from others. If you want honesty, practice honesty. If you expect respect, offer respect. If you desire loyalty, be loyal. Healthy relationships are built when both people bring the qualities they hope to receive. Standards are not about placing yourself above anyone else. They are about creating fairness, balance, and mutual care. As your standards become stronger, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop feeling desperate for love because you realize that being alone is far better than being with someone who constantly makes you feel lonely. You become more patient because you know that waiting for the right relationship is wiser than rushing into the wrong one. Your confidence becomes rooted in who you are rather than in who chooses you. Over time, the people who truly belong in your life will naturally rise to meet your standards because they genuinely value you. They will not see your boundaries as obstacles. They will appreciate the clarity they bring. They will understand that love grows best where respect already exists. Those who only wanted convenience, control, or one-sided effort may walk away, but that is not a loss. It is protection. Never apologize for expecting honesty, kindness, loyalty, consistency, and respect. Those are not impossible expectations. They are the building blocks of every healthy relationship. The woman who understands her worth no longer measures love by how hard she has to fight to keep someone. She measures it by the peace, security, and mutual effort that both people bring into each other's lives. The day you stop lowering your standards to keep someone is the day you begin raising the quality of every relationship you will have. You discover that your heart is too valuable to be treated as an option. Your time is too precious to be wasted on empty promises, and your future is too important to build with someone who refuses to meet you with the same love, respect, and commitment that you freely give. That realization changes everything. Because from that moment forward, you no longer accept what is merely available. You choose only what truly honors your worth. There comes a moment after heartbreak when every woman faces a choice. She can spend months asking why someone walked away, replaying old conversations, wondering what she could have done differently. Or she can ask herself a far more powerful question: who am I becoming because of this experience? That single question has the power to change the direction of her entire life. Instead of allowing pain to define her, she begins using it as the foundation for her growth. It is easy to become so focused on the people who leave that you forget about the person who has been with you through every chapter of your life, you. Before anyone entered your world, you already had dreams, talents, passions, and a purpose that belonged only to you. Somewhere along the way, many women began placing all of their emotional energy into a relationship, slowly putting their own goals aside. They stop making time for the things that once made them feel alive because they become consumed with trying to make someone else happy. The strongest transformation begins when you decide that your happiness deserves your attention too. Instead of waiting for someone else to recognize your value, you begin recognizing it yourself. You stop asking for permission to become the woman you've always wanted to be. You start taking small steps every day that move you closer to that version of yourself. Growth does not always happen through dramatic changes. More often, it is built through quiet decisions repeated consistently. Choosing to wake up a little earlier to work on your goals. Reading books that strengthen your mindset instead of constantly reliving painful memories. Taking care of your health because your body deserves kindness, not punishment. Learning new skills that build your confidence. Spending time with people who encourage your dreams instead of draining your spirit. These small choices may seem ordinary in the moment, but over time, they create an extraordinary life. One of the greatest mistakes women make after heartbreak is believing they have somehow lost their value because someone failed to see it. But another person's inability to appreciate you does not reduce your worth. A diamond remains valuable even if someone walks past it without noticing. Your character, your kindness, your intelligence, your compassion, and your strength were never created by another person's opinion. They already existed long before they arrived, and they will remain long after they leave. The woman you admire most is probably not admired because her life has always been easy. She is admired because she continued growing through difficult seasons. She learned from disappointment without allowing it to make her bitter. She faced rejection without giving up on herself. She experienced loss without losing her hope. Strength is not the absence of pain. Strength is choosing to keep moving even when your heart feels heavy. As you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, something unexpected begins to happen. You stop comparing your life to everyone else's. You realize that every person has a different journey, different struggles, and different timing. Some people find love quickly. Others spend years discovering themselves before meeting the right person. Neither path is better. What matters is becoming someone who is emotionally healthy enough to build a lasting relationship when the opportunity comes. Confidence also begins to change the way you carry yourself. It is no longer based on compliments or attention. It comes from knowing that you have kept promises to yourself. Every goal you accomplish reminds you that you are capable. Every challenge you overcome proves that you are stronger than you once believed. Every obstacle you face teaches you something that success never could. There's a beautiful freedom that comes when you stop trying to impress people and start trying to inspire yourself. You no longer make decisions based on whether someone else will approve. You choose what aligns with your values, your dreams, and your peace. You understand that not everyone will appreciate your journey, and that is perfectly fine. Your responsibility is not to earn everyone's approval. It is to remain faithful to the woman you are becoming.